All good, super. Okay, so this is super exciting. Hello, everyone. My name is Shlomi, and I'm currently in Tel Aviv. I'm very excited to share with you some insights about my journey and my story. And yeah, I hope it's going to inspire you. I have a lot to cover, so let's just jump in. So, Katerina, it will be great if we could share the first slide. There we go. So the name of my presentation is The Hero in You. It's about celebrating diversity and creating the space for your individual expression in life. We're going to start with a little video. So Katerina, it will be great if we could start with sharing the first video.
Hi,
Stell dich doch bitte mal vor.
ich bin Mazi Mazeltov, ich komme aus Tel Aviv, wohne in Berlin seit 3 Jahren. Ich singe Oper, Musicals, auch meine eigenen Lieder und mache auch Performance-Kunst.
Wie alt bist du?
31.
Ja, du singst Oper auch heute Abend? Oder?
Heute Musical.
Music. Welchen Titel singst du?
I Dream the Dream
Okay.
von Les Miserables.
Okay.
Cool.
Wow.
Ja.
Okay, so before we move on, I know this is a bit a dramatic moment, but let's take a little pause, and I'm going to tell you about myself. So I'm a performance artist and opera singer. I have an MA in interdisciplinary arts and a BA in music and mathematics and philosophy. I moved to Berlin in 2012. I work with different opera ensembles, different theater makers, and I'm also a marketing consultant. So I work with media companies, with startups, freelancers, and I help them to go on with finding their audiences, connecting with them, branding, project management, campaigns, everything that is about communicating their story and their messages. And I'm also the founder of the House of Mazel Tov, which is a drag performance house that I started in Berlin, and where we researched limits of identity, voice, religion, and so on. Yes, so the first question that kind of like was part of my early teenager years, since realizing that I'm queer, that I'm gay as a young person in Israel, was yes, am I normal? Do I want to be normal? What does it mean to be normal? I never really played with the boys and the guys in gym class, and it's not like I spent time with the girls, but somehow I couldn't find myself in these normal norms of gender. Um, yeah, so that was something that was a bit challenging as a kid. And not that I wish that back then I had enough confidence or the knowledge to understand that being normal is maybe the last thing I want to give myself as a present. And the most beautiful thing in life that we can do is actually find our uniqueness and celebrate it. But yeah, as a teenager, I used to be afraid of drag queens because drag queens used to represent for me those characters that are out there, that it's impossible to hide or to be normal. Because I couldn't understand, like, why a man, okay, you're queer, you're gay, but why would you even wear dresses, and what are those things that you're doing on stage? And the drag queens here in the photos are very important drag queens. They did very important work and still do in Israel since the 90s. Tziona Patriot, Kiara Duple, and Diva D. Yeah, but for me back then, they were those freaks I couldn't understand. Yeah, so you ask yourself, like, so where did you come from, Mazi Mazel Tov? Like now, realizing that I am this person, how did that start? So, Katerina, it would be great if we could play the next video, the one not with the orchestra. Yes.
Meine Damen und Herren, Madame et Messieurs, ladies and gentlemen, I give you the international sensation, Fräulein Mazel Tov!
The name on everybody's lips is gonna be Mazi. Lady Reagan and the chips is gonna be Mazi. I'm gonna be a celebrity, that means somebody everyone knows. They're gonna recognize my eyes, my hair, my lips, my lips, my nose.
Cool. Yeah, so that's just a little sneak peek into Mazi. We can go back to the slide. So I'm gonna go one step, couple of steps to the past. As I said, I started as an opera singer. I trained as an opera singer. I was working at the Israeli opera and so on. These are just a few shots of different theaters I was singing at, and we can play just a couple of seconds from the video with the orchestra, please. Yes, that's it. Thank you very much, Katrina. Yeah, so as an opera singer, I used to sing just traditional roles of male characters, of men, from Papageno, Dandini, and so on, Figaro, Don Giovanni, and so on. And I was just in the business of, representing male characters on stage. At a certain point during my work at the Opera House, I discovered makeup, and I discovered how actually I can embody different characters with paint and powder. And I started to get really fascinated with the power of makeup. And then, one summer, while I was in the opera, my friend Kiki, which I love in New York from the times I used to study in New York, she came to visit me in Tel Aviv, and RuPaul Drag Race, the show that probably many of you know, just came out. It was the finale of one of the first seasons, and we watched it together, and it blew my mind. It was the moment my life changed. I realized that those characters behind the drag queens are actually people like me that are dealing with this question of identity, of being normal, of conforming, and actually are using this art form as an armor of empowerment. Maybe we can quickly just play the next video. I'm just gonna upload it. Yes, okay, it's up.
Now, a message from the President of the United States.
My fellow Americans, the time has come for America's first drag queen president. Friday, February 28th, 13 new candidates enter the race.
Hey, bitches! I'm here to slay the competition.
Sherry is a big, loud Broadway dame.
Yeah,
We are
okay,
the
that's
best
great. We can
queens
stop.
in the world, but
Thank you. Yeah, so just to give you a little taste of what is RuPaul's Drag Race. And then since then I got into this journey of playing with makeup, of trying to find my drag character. Who am I as a drag queen? And I found a lot of pleasure in playing around with makeup, the picture on the left is my first time in drag, which was 2010 in the Tel Aviv Pride Parade. First time I went out of the house as a drag queen. And I started presenting myself to the world as a drag queen, as this thing that I used to be ashamed of, as I used to be afraid of, and suddenly it became this thing that I understood it gives me a lot of power. So before we move on, I just want to give you a little also peek into the history of drag, how that started. There we go. Okay, it's up. Katerina, it would be great.
We are the queens from RuPaul's Drag Race All-Stars,
And we are about to take you through a brief history of drag culture.
Oh, fabulous.
Men have been dressing in what's considered women's clothes and vice versa for probably as long as human beings have been wearing clothes.
But where did the term drag originate?
The term drag was primarily used as a theater term to describe a man or woman who was dressed in clothing typically worn by the opposite sex.
Before women were allowed to perform in theater, men played female parts, cross-dressing in women's clothes.
It's thought that drag was chosen because it describes the action of long skirts dragging on the stage floor.
Drag eventually made its way into American vaudeville shows in the late 19th.
Okay, so that's just a little taste of what drag is. Yes, and drag is something that was as early as Greek drama. In the ancient times, drag was something that was used in early opera in the Baroque period and so on in the 16th century. And also in Chinese operas, which is also an ancient drag form, art form. Yes, and then with Mazi, I kind of like started to present myself everywhere. I was in different stages. I started going out of the house as a drag queen. All those images are from since 2012, 13, when I moved to Berlin. Yes, and one of the things that I learned from doing drag is that creativity and presenting myself, embodying this character is something that gave me a lot of strength, channeling all those inner questions, inner unclarities, or being queer, or what does it mean for me to be a man? What does it mean for me to play a role of a man on outside, in the street, in the workplace, and so on. And suddenly Mazi was this empowering creature, and she taught me how much power I have to change the world. Coming out of the house as a drag queen, it was just an amazing moment of realizing that suddenly all the eyes of people outside are giving me a different look. And by changing the way that people look at me, I basically changed my experience of life. And that created a feedback loop where I started also channeling a new power. And that again changed the way people were looking at me and behaving with me. And basically by this action, I was changing my experience of the world, their experience of the world. And basically I was changing the world, because what is this life if not just our experience, how we make other people feel, and how they make me feel, or you feel. Let's look at another cute little video that I am going to upload. Yes, Katerina, can we? Yeah, so this show is from Schwutz, which is a club in Berlin, and I started to create myself different stages where I can perform with help of different friends that were there to dance with me, to support me, and together create this ritual space where we can celebrate our power, get and empower each other. Okay, we have a lot to cover. I love this video, but we will watch it another time. Yes, and as Mazi, then I started to perform in also non-traditional spaces for drag because there were people around me that kind of like understood this opportunity and the power that drag has. And suddenly I found myself performing in synagogues, this place that I used to feel always excluded from as a queer person because of, yeah, traditional identity or gender norms in religion and so on. So the picture in the left is from a synagogue in Poland where I came to perform to the community there. The picture on the right is me singing in a traditional Jewish wedding, an Orthodox wedding suddenly where it was the rabbi and so on, and they invited me to sing the songs of the reception of the wedding. And it was really a powerful moment where I also understood that maybe I am accepted as a queer person. Now, no two queens are alike in drag, and these are just three examples. On the left, you see Soya the cow. Soya the cow is one of my drag daughters and family and friend from the house of Mazel Tov. And Soya the cow, she uses her drag persona for her vegan and vegetarian activism, interspecies, and so on. Super talented. She's also an opera singer, so she produces music. She performs all over Europe and the world, actually. Bambi Mercury, she's an amazing queen that actually also, you can see she's bearded. So again, it's like, what kind of woman are you? Maybe drag is not really about impersonating women. Maybe it's just about playing with any threat of gender. So she creates this mix that maybe also represent this idea that gender is not binary, that gender is not one thing. And then on the right, you see Hungry. Hungry, she is an amazing makeup artist and art director. She works with Bjork and so on. And yeah, she's really about the looks. Also an amazing performer. Yeah, so my drag family, which is actually an amazing, a very important part in being a drag queen, realizing that you're not doing it by yourself, you're supported by your community, and you're being empowered. But then with this power, you're empowering other people, and you get empowered back. On the top left, you see Buba Sababa. She's a drag king. Or he's a drag king, actually. Also moved to Berlin 3 years ago. Now he has his lines and parties, König and Tipsy Bear and so on. Also a whole group of drag sons and so on. Then you see Soya the cow, and then Judy La Divina, which Judy is an amazing drag queen that moved to Berlin 5 years ago. The first night of Judy in Berlin, she came out and we met each other on the dance floor. I was performing as Mazi in that party, and she fell in love with Mazi. She started working with me and as a choreographer and so on. And then at a certain point, she started doing drag herself. Now she is her own drag mama of more than 30 drag queens, empowering a whole community of drag queens and queer people. And I just want to quickly share another video of her talking because she's such an amazing speaker and very inspiring. So can we play this?
Everybody can argue. With success, nobody can say a damn thing. I'm Judy La Divina, and I am a drag artist. So I moved to Berlin from Tel Aviv in 2015. I just decided that I need some refreshment in my life. And in a way, I also had academic plans. I definitely didn't plan to end up as a drag queen, but I'm very grateful for Berlin to inspire that drag journey within me. My first night out in Berlin, I met who became my drag mama, a drag queen. Her name is Mazi Mazel Tov. She was mesmerizing to me, so we started working together, and every single time I used to dance for her or do any kind of directing progress, she would be like, "Bitch, you're good, you should do it. You should do it." And I was like, maybe, and then I decided, you know what, I'm gonna go for it. It's gonna be a cliche, but I believe that cliches are cliches because they're real, and in many ways I feel that drag saved my life. Drag taught me how to fall in love with myself. Drag taught me freedom of expression. Drag introduced me to so many queer beings that I was not even aware are existing before.
Okay. Yes, so she's very inspiring, and I encourage you and everyone to go and see her. She's performing all the time in Berlin. Now, a little bit about drag names. So, yeah, coming up with your drag name, it is like a spiritual exercise and also an aesthetic one. And there are different ways that people choose their names. It can be something funny or sarcastic, like Heda Lettuce. She's a drag queen from New York, and represent her, yeah, her look. She likes to wear green wigs. Then Manila Luzon, her name represents her heritage and identity. She's Filipinian. Or RuPaul, which RuPaul is basically her birth given name. It's just one name, it can be two names, and so on. We can play a little game now where we find your drag name. So yeah, think quickly about your drag name. I'm gonna give you some hints, and you can also write them in the comments. It's super cute how people come with their drag names. So the first name can be the name of your favorite artist, and then the middle name, your strongest attribute, or an attribute you wanna get better. It can be, I don't know, blogging. It can be just you're a heartful or empathic person, and so on. So use your drag character as also a ritual for transformation, to create this space in your life for this change, to create this space in your life, to exercise, to channel and embody this thing you want to be, this thing you are, this a voice you want to represent in the world. And then the last name can be also the name of the place you're from, the street you grew up in, your fantasy city, or I don't know, a planet, Mercury, or anything like that. Yeah, we don't have a lot of time, and I still want to talk. So yeah, you can use it right in the comments, and also during the Q&A later, we can talk about it, and we're gonna have a lot of time. Okay, so 3 things I was afraid of before going to the Super Talent, which is this show that I showed you in the beginning of the presentation. So the first thing I was afraid of is coming out as a drag queen, and that my clients wouldn't want to work with me anymore, that I'm going to be perceived as a drag queen with all the stigma that queer people have, that drag has. And then the second thing is that no opera house or theater will ever hire me again to play traditional male roles, or how can I be Don Giovanni on stage again after I'm playing also this very feminine character? And then the third thing was just that I'm going to lose my anonymity. I'm just going to be perceived that this one thing, and this drag queen, that, and yeah, the place that they were, the stigma they had in society for so many years. But I was very surprised to find out after that was aired that all my fears were actually didn't come true. My clients loved the performance. I was sitting with my colleagues, for example, in the media company that I was working at, and the different startups, and they were very interested. They wanted to know. They were asking questions, and it was very empowering for them that I can be there and actually show them that I have this fearless side in me, that I I do activism for the queer community, for my community, for the people around me. And the same with the theaters. The theaters I was working with, and the directors, they loved it. I was getting more proposals, and it just showed people that I can do more, that I have more colors. And the third thing is that I didn't lose my anonymity. Actually, it's uh, I was, the next day I went to have some coffee in a coffee shop, and didn't matter. Everything was the same. The last thing I wanted to say about this was, yeah, just realizing that all those fears were nothing more than me setting borders and limits to myself. And that brings me to talk about visibility and diversity, and how important it is to have role models in our life, to play this place in our lives to be this person that we wanted to see on TV, to give us power. And you see here in the picture, Dana International. She's this picture from the Eurovision Song Contest in 1997 until she was in the Eurovision Song Contest representing Israel. She's a trans singer. She performed with the song Diva. So until she was there was actually no representation of queer people in Israeli media or TV in the early 90s. The only time queer people were represented in the media were in a negative way, as drag addicts, as sex workers, related to the AIDS and HIV epidemic. And so for me, first time seeing this person on stage gave me so much power. When she won the Eurovision contest, I was in the 7th grade in my mother's living room. I knew that the next day I'm going to school and I have more space in the world. I have more power because she empowered me just by seeing that. And me also going to the Super Talent was something that empowered other people. After this show, I was getting emails from teenagers in different places in Germany and telling me how that empowered them. I met this trans girl from a small village in Brandenburg. She was so unconfident and she had so many problems with her friends in school and so on. And we met, I went to her school, and it was just amazing to see how much power you have to change the world. Yes, and again, celebrating this thing that you are. One of the metaphors I like to think of is that we're all just flowers, and we all share this flower bed that is life, and we all blossom in a different way, in a different color. And the only thing we can do in life is just to let our flowers blossom, be who we are, and shine. And that's the only way, the only thing we have to practice in life, basically. Yes, again, life is diverse. There is biodiversity. Gender is diverse. Gender is a spectrum. Sexuality is something that we know that is so complex and diverse. And we have the power to perform this thing in life and create a space for ourselves to be this flower we want to blossom. Yes, and all change in life is performative. It's also something very important. You have to go and talk about your achievements. You have to go and talk about who you are. Show your true colors. Again, you change the world by just going out there and changing the experience of other people. We have so much power. Performance is or theater in general. Life is a ritual, and theater is a ritual space. Going to the street is a ritual space. Yes. Yeah, this picture is from the Schwulen Straßenfest in Schöneberg. This little kid, I was just sitting there with my friends and suddenly seeing her getting so excited, seeing this person that I was at that moment. It was just so heartwarming and amazing that I can represent this thing for a human being that might feel that it doesn't have a space, that or just being excited. Yes, I'm going to skip on this video because we don't have a lot of time. So we are all born naked and the rest is drag. Drag is not only female impersonation, it can be male impersonation. Okay, I see Katrina aware from
Hi,
stop, right?
Shlomi. Hi, I'm so sorry, but we have run out of time and our next speaker is already waiting to begin. We have
Okay,
to be
so
on
I'm just
point.
going to say one last thing is about, I'm just going to take it back to office work, to the work that most of you guys are doing. So it goes back to growth mindset. You have to be fully engaged in the work that you do, embrace challenge, and find lessons in every encounter, and celebrate the success of others, celebrate love. I took this work I did back to mostly heteronormative and male-dominated spaces, running conferences, working a lot in tech people, and so on. Okay, I'm gonna skip. Skip. Yeah, be the change you want to see in the world. And the last thing is I want to show you the full performance of me on the Super Talent. It's amazing. I have no time to do it now because it's 4 minutes long. So join me to the Q&A room. and we're gonna watch it together there, and then gonna have time to talk. And yeah, I'm looking forward to hear your questions. Thank you very much, Katerina. It's been a pleasure.